My folks were really good people. They were social people, but we didn't attend church regularly. I always felt that God loved me, but my problem was, as I grew up and went out on my own at a very young age, at 18, I didn't have a connection that I yearned for. And I grew up in a family with an alcoholic background. You know, when there were problems, we searched through answers in the wrong avenues. And I grew up with that, and eventually, you know, when I had problems, that's where I went. I went to the bottle and I went to the wrong avenues. In doing that, I was actually blocking the connection that I was seeking from the Lord. I remember a time when I was 12 in church and I saw a flickering candle at the front of the altar, and I was very touched by it, and I just felt like I felt the presence of the Lord in my heart at that very young age. So I feel like I knew, you know, there was a God, and I knew right from wrong, but I really didn't have any religious guidance as a child. I was very conscious of that feeling of, you know, the power of God. And I think prior to this change in my life, these things were around me all the time, but I couldn't open my eyes to see them. Starting in the year 1999, my father passed away. I went through a bitter and volatile divorce. My mother passed away in 2002. I virtually had no family in Fort Wayne. I was alone. I had 3 young children, ages like 8, 5, and 2, and I was completely alone. And I'd had many, many problems previous to that, in fertility problems when I was married. You know, my oldest son has Down syndrome, and after 4 miscarriages, I had triplet pregnancy. Only 1 baby survived, and my 3rd son, they said that I was going to miscarry him too. There's a big history behind my story of sadness, grief, loss, working a very hard job at 12-hour days, and I was struggling. And this was during my drinking years. And I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't stop. Eventually, that will catch up to you, and it did me. It got me sick, it got me tired, it got me in the hole, and I got to a very dark place, and a lonesome place, and I had that lump in my throat and felt very full of sorrow, and I knew I was not dealing with it in the right way, but also by my drinking I was blocking the very thing that I was searching for, and I just couldn't connect. Eventually, catching up with me, I got into a 12-step program, and I got down on my knees one day in my room, and I prayed, and I asked God to enter my life, and I surrendered everything to Him. Finally, for the first time in my life, I surrendered it all, and I asked Him to carry me and help me, and was relieved of that constant pressure, and the desire to drink was removed from me completely. The day after my prayer, I stood up and I actually felt a tingling feeling, a sensation that went through my entire body, as if God had just tingled and removed everything that I'd asked for. It came right up through my body, and it didn't happen in just a second. It took a period of time, and at the end of that, I knew that there was a change immediately. I knew that something had changed in my life. And it was soon after that is when I came to fellowship. People looked at me from that day on, and I have not drank again for 8 years. And I am so grateful to God for that experience. The problems that I had previous to that, the volatile divorce, the raising of my 3 children alone, my parents both passing away, you know, losing all these things, brought me to my knees. It literally did. I was beat up pretty badly, and the lowest point of my life actually brought me to the point of salvation. He brought me to the doorstep, but I had to do the action of opening up the door. I knew right and wrong. I knew what was good, what was not good, and I didn't know why I kept doing the things I was doing. That self-will run riot, you know, in your life, trying to self-will, you're trying to will it away. And finding out that You cannot change by self-will. Absolutely cannot. You know, it is only by God's power. For, you know, a person to drink every day almost for 20-some years, and then to have that desire removed completely, that's not just a coincidence. That's a God thing. He's given me a gift of His grace in my life, and I can't hold it and keep it. I must give it away, and I must carry on. I want Him to carry on through me. That's my purpose here. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I'm here by the grace of God, and I want to share. I want to give. I don't want to keep it. I want to give it away. I love Joshua 1:9, where he says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for I am with you wherever you are." It's just simple surrender. It's total surrender. And I'm just so happy now.